I believe if you take the kids, not kids, young men phone numbers, when you're talking to them, you just can periodically call them. You know, when I call the guys going back to school this year, I said, okay, first day of school, man, you know, everything will be all right. Yeah. After that first day of school, call back. How was it? You know, who's in school? Nothing have to be structured, just general conversation. Me and 4 young men went out to lunch one day just after they got an award that 90% of the parents weren't there to see them receive their award. And that was heartbreaking to me. So 3 or 4 of us just went out to lunch, and it was the best time we had that day. And I mean, for them, they still call, and all they want to do is to go out to have lunch again with me, and that's it.
I noticed that a lot of our youth, especially the young men, they just want, just like you said, they want some communication. They have a lot to talk about. Right.
You know, one young man didn't come to a meeting one night, and I asked him why you didn't come up to the meeting that morning. And he said, can I talk to you later? And I said, yeah. And he says, you know, last night the police raided our house looking for my brother. And so his morning, you know, when he comes to school, they were saying, why are you late for school? And why are you not on time? And then when he was trying to explain it to him, they said, just go to class. That was his morning. Not knowing that he just came out of a situation where he was dealing with the police, he was placed on the floor by the officers to secure the house, and they're looking for his brother. They get him off the floor, he brushes himself off, and he walks to school. Nobody knows what he went through 20 minutes prior to arriving to school. So if you get into it and talk with these kids and stuff and find out what really their lives are like, I think you'll find out more about them, and we can reach them.
You know, coming from Union Heights, and we lived on the Dan Jenkins projects, and we lived on Georgia Green and Liberty Hill. Living in those neighborhoods, you actually experience a lot of good things and bad things. But one thing that was always consistent with my living in North Charleston growing up, my mother, when we had hard times, when we had real hard times, my mother would always say, the Lord will provide. I always remember that as a little kid in Head Start all the way to college. My mother always said, Lord will provide. I had to find God myself. Yes. I had to find my own personal relationship with him. But I knew from experiences what he had actually did for my mother and my brothers and my father and my family. So I knew that if all I had to have done was to stay focused on the Lord, and he would see me through. And he's always been there for me.
Now, I know being in law enforcement for so long, you had to have that support of your family. How important was it to have that support of your family in that law enforcement field?
Keeping it real,
yes, sir. I'm
African American. I'm born black, I'm going to die black.
Yes, sir.
So I love my heritage. But I realized a long time ago, way before I was in law enforcement, that the African American community in law enforcement has always had issues with each other. So I knew going into law enforcement that I have to not only worry about, you know, the black side of things, but the blue side of it. In other words, sometimes I'm too black for the blue, and sometimes I'm too blue for the black. But I never let that hold me down, because my main objective is to bring peace and tranquility to communities. And the only way I knew about doing it was to be a part of it. My father told me, son, you can change a lot of things if you're on the inside. If you're on the inside, you can change a lot of things. And you can help better the outside of things. So with me, I just knew that getting into law enforcement and let law enforcement see black people as they really are, from the internal part of law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Then that way, when they go out to serve African Americans, they have already been in contact with African Americans on the inside, and they know how to better navigate those conversations.
Well, you know, I think like everybody who has a child in law enforcement, they are, or a spouse, you know, they are always concerned about your well-being. And, you know, I had, you know, my father's still living, my mother's passed on, but I have very, very good praying parents. And so even though it was not the career choice that they would have chosen for me, you know, they just prayed for me, and they understood that sometimes the calling on your life is something that you're not totally prepared for, because it definitely wasn't something that I ever thought that I would be doing. But family support means everything. You know, officers go through a lot, and I think you see that throughout the country. And, you know, they're tired when they get home. A lot of things they see they don't want to talk about. So it causes all types of internal issues. And so having that support from their significant other, their family, whoever that may be, means the world.
Now, I know they say that girls, ladies are daddy's girls. Are you still your father's girl? Because I know you talk a lot about him.
Yeah, I talk a lot about him. But let me just say, I was also a mama's girl, and my
Correct.
mama's not here. So obviously, I talk about my dad more. But I was a daddy's girl growing up. I think all girls are initially daddy's girls growing up. And then I became really, really tight with my mom. Because the mom was a disciplinarian, and so when you're coming up, that's not your favorite thing. And so I am both mama and dad's girl. But yes, now I am strictly daddy's girl, and he's 82 years old, and so I just make sure I spend as much time with him as I can.
Having the jails, and also the deputies out in the field as they interact with the public, they recognize that we work for the citizens of Mecklenburg County, and I'm everybody's sheriff, and I want everybody to know that.
That passion, where does that passion come from, being the sheriff of Charlotte?
I grew up, my dad was a Methodist preacher. Correct. And we moved around a lot when I was growing up, and got to know a lot of people. It allowed me to be able to interact with folks and be comfortable talking to people. And it also, I learned growing up that there were a lot of folks who, when they get involved in the criminal justice system, right, you have some bad players and some, I call them knuckleheads sometimes.
Correct, yes, sir.
But you also have folks who make some bad lifestyle choices. And what I've come to recognize is if we can make a difference in those who make the bad choice the first time or even the second time, and then get them turned around so that they make good choices. Life's about choices. Correct. And with every choice you make, there's a consequence. Well, what I'd like for these individuals, especially the ones in the jails that we deal with on a regular basis, is when they make a choice, they have a good consequence instead of a bad consequence.
You have a lot of outstanding programs that's inside the jail. Let's talk about some of the reality program.
The reality program is geared toward middle school and some high school Correct. Kids who have started to show signs of making bad choices. And we get them referred to us usually by the school resource officers who work within the schools who've had to deal with these individuals. And then we bring them in for a day along with their parents. We require the parents to come. And we take the kids and we put them in a special outfit, and we take them up into the jail to see what life is like in the jail. It's not glamorized like sometimes it is on television. And what the reality is of having to be in there, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to have breakfast, not being able to come and go as you please. At the same time, we're talking to the parents downstairs about issues and how they can respond to challenges that the teenagers can present, big challenges. Yes, sir. So we're dealing with the parents how to help respond and what to look out for, what the signs are with regard to substance abuse. What are the signs for kids who are starting to drift into gang activity? Those kind of things, so that together, by impressing upon these youth the importance of what could happen to them, Correct. What the reality is if they don't do the right thing, and then working with the parents to reinforce that, we've had good success at taking some of those kids and getting their lifestyle choices turned around to where they're good choices and good consequences.
I had the RNC in 2008. They're both coming here to Charlotte to sit down with us. We've been to their cities to look at their layout and talk to people. So there's the free flowing of information. We've even gone back to the 2004 convention in Boston and met with the representatives from Boston to hear what their experiences were. So everybody's willing to help, so we don't have to necessarily rewrite an entire plan. Correct. There's a roadmap already out there for us that, if we follow and learn from their successes, we're going to be okay.
Okay, I know you deal a lot with the youth in our community. Why is it so important that we have that type of attention to the youth in our community?
Well, when you look at crime and you look at its cycle and you look at some of the systemic issues involved that allow crime to continue to occur throughout history, we have to look for ways to try to break that cycle. And part of breaking that cycle means engaging people earlier and addressing educational issues, addressing youth problems, addressing poverty issues. Anytime you can look at the enablers of crime, and our young people are a part of that. So I believe that if we can engage our young people early, if we can, teach them certain skill sets, if we can develop the relationships, make them aware of some of the negative opportunities that unfortunately they become engaged in, and steer them into more positive opportunities, that we can help break that cycle. So, and there's so much value in our young people.
Correct.
And it's so disheartening to see our young people go down the wrong path or fall victim to criminal activity or victims of crime. It just makes you want to fight each and every day to make sure that you have a generation that can move past that and be successful and become a part of the vibrancy of a community and help a community versus hurting that community.
When you go to one of these crime scenes and you see one of those youth laying down there, what type of impact does that play on you?
It's probably one of the most heartfelt experiences that you ever have to endure. The one time that I considered walking away from law enforcement, it just seemed that I experienced and witnessed too many of those deaths, and wanting to do more to try to really bring people to a different place where they don't fall victim to such horrific types of crime. But I've learned that, where I am now, I have just as good a chance of trying to help young people and bring about a change in the way that they look at things and deal with things. So I'm encouraged. I'm not discouraged. I'm encouraged. I think that, one day we're all going to get it. Young people are going to get it, and they're going to steer away from a lot of that negative activity that causes them to fall victim to crimes such as homicide.
So you have a plan, okay? So you educate, because the last thing a lot of these people who knock on the door, they're knocking on the door to see if the house is occupied. If it's occupied, they're going somewhere else. And that's how you handle latchkey kids, and making sure that they don't get caught in a home invasion.
Safety, I know you're a 9th degree martial art.
Yes, sir.
You have numerous martial art studios in Mecklenburg County. Why is it so important that we know self-defense?
Looking is the criminal element. He's like a tiger or a lion. They're going to try picking on the weak, okay, the easy. And martial arts is going to teach you to be a strong individual. It's going to teach you the techniques. Do you have to be, I always tell everyone, like Muggsy Bogues, was he the tallest basketball player with the NBA? But could he, yes, right. And look at what he could do, okay, just because of his practice. And, martial arts, not everybody, I'm 50 years of age now. I cannot do what I could do at 20 years of age. But if I am attacked by a 20-year-old now, I would be able to handle myself better because of the martial arts, the skills that I've learned over the years. So you just do this, it's like it's a way of life. It calms you that you will be able to protect yourselves. You'll be able to protect your families. So it's important to learn self-defense. Starting off as a kid, karate is secondary to what we teach. What we teach kids are life skills. I just finished summer camps this summer, and I take a kindergartner who is totally shy, afraid to look anyone in the eye. By the end of the week, they're walking up to a stranger, and we demonstrate it in every camp, every class. They come up and introduce themselves. They know the 3 things. I'll get any kid, I'll bring them up, what's the 3 things for a polite greeting? They're going to tell you good eye contact, a good loud voice, and a good firm handshake, and have a smile. And they come up and they introduce themselves to someone they've never met before. That is powerful. because now they're able to look someone in the eye, they have that confidence, they have that self-esteem, and and that's something that's going to carry on for the rest of their life. So martial arts is something, life skills, when you're young, but then as you become an adult, then it's more into the self-defense. So if someone just comes up, like shaking your hand, did you notice something when I shook your hand? Okay,
really.
Like right here. Why did I always put my finger right here? Because you can never squeeze my hand.
Oh, okay.
If my hand is like this, you could squeeze my hand, because all the bones are together, okay?
Correct.
See? But if I put my hand like this, you can never squeeze it. Put both hands on it and squeeze as hard as you want, you could never squeeze my hand. Okay. And that's just by doing this. It's by technique.
Correct.
It's just the simple technique of laying that index finger. Every hand I shake, because I shake a lot of hands now, I always lay that index finger, because there's some people like to squeeze hands. From here, I have total control. And from here, it never hurt. And it's just, everything's technique. Size has nothing to do with it. We do, with our sheriff's office training, our defensive tactics. I'm the lead DT instructor for our sheriff's office. And then what we do is we do a confrontational drill. At the end, I bring one of our students she started with me in kindergarten. She weighs 110 pounds. She'll fight over 200-pound male sheriff recruits, and she's never lost. She's never lost. And she weighs 110 pounds. So it's not size. Size does matter, there's no doubt, but technique is everything. Take Tiger Woods. Is he the biggest and strongest golfer? No, it's the technique. He's able to just sit there and swing. This is why size doesn't matter, it's the technique that you want to learn. And I always tell everybody, like scenarios, putting yourselves in situations and get yourselves out of it. Give you an example. Several gold medals in February won in the Olympics the night before in bed. Everybody says, what do you mean, what are they doing the night before in bed? They're lying there visualizing exactly what they're going to do the next day. That's what you got to do. You got to visualize and always win. You always have to win. I give an example of, this is what a little homework assignment I always give people in my crime prevention class. I tell them, tell me what's going to happen in your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, home invasion, someone kicks in your door. Does your family have a plan? And mine does, my whole family does. If, Paul, if you would come over and spend a night at my house, before I would set the alarm in my house, I'll have a conversation with you. I will tell you, if the alarm goes off, the burglar alarm goes off, do not leave your bedroom, okay? You ask my son, okay, what do you do if the alarm goes off? I don't leave the bedroom. The reason being, when the alarm goes off, it tells me where they're at in my home. Oh, okay. It tells me where they're coming towards me, they're going away from me, as far as the intruder. And the last thing I want to worry about is killing my house guest or killing one of my family members, because we didn't have a plan. This is why I say have a plan. Okay, and visualize things in your mind. Always win. You always have to win.
I know the neighborhoods, and it's not a neighborhood community group of people. The communities are there, but you don't have that lady who's sitting in the window who can yell to you and tell you to stop doing something, and then you respect her, Mrs. Brown. I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that. You don't have that anymore. Even down to the police officers. When I loved the West Side. All my patrol days was on West Boulevard, and I still love West Boulevard and that west side of town. It's just something, that and Beatty's-Ford Road, who people consider are high crime areas. I love those areas because there was real people there. There are still good real people, but then the community changes with the officers. There's no respect for the officers, and that's a big issue to me. No respect for the people in your community and no respect for the officers. That has changed drastically.
In my opinion, I think there's also a lack of respect for our elders.
Very much.
It's a whole different, the communication that the younger kids do to the elders is.
But I think that goes back to how we teach our kids and what we teach our kids. We said it starts at home. It certainly does start at home. Then can the school get a little bit of the blame? Yes, the school can get some of the blame too. Does the churches get some of the blame? Yes, the churches get some of the blame too. But then a person that can accept an award for good in the community, but they will not accept the bad for what's going on in the community. And one kid said this. He says, Mr. McFadden, how can these people accept community awards for our community and the bad things are still happening in our community? How can they stand there and just take an award and say they revitalized the community and my brother is killed? Or we've never seen this guy in the community. And those kind of things are embedded into these young people's hearts. And if we reach them and let them talk to us, I think we need to go back. We have every panel a discussion. When we go to these discussions, it's our community leaders or who we believe are our community leaders at the head table speaking to the kids. If we reverse that and let the kids talk to us, we will learn a lot. We will learn a great deal from them.
I know we had
That cut day, they stopped allowing them going on senior cut days because of attitude and behavior. I'm not saying that I did it, but my interaction with the kids, when they started telling me what they wanted, I said, I'll work on those things if you work on doing better in school with your behavior. That happened. So I went to bat for them. We had our school dances. I was on campus, I helped them to organize it, stayed there, we had our dance, no problems. Then we started going to senior cut days. Then we started going on senior trips. And North Charleston's been going on senior trips since 1994, since I've been over there every year, going to Florida. Never have any issues like you've heard other schools go to places and have. North Charleston High never had those because I listened to the kids and I asked them to be better with the teachers. See, it's like this, Mr. Brown. We don't know what that child has experienced over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When that child comes to school in this day and time, when we were growing up, you knew how to act because you knew what was going to happen in school and when you got home. But things are different. So you don't know what that child has experienced from the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the home or in the community. When that child comes to school, the last thing you want to do as a teacher, administrator, or SRO is to just cast them aside. If they're acting out, there's a reason. Mr. Brown, I don't believe no child was born to sell drugs. I don't believe no child was born to rape. I don't believe no child was born to rob. I don't believe no child was born to do none of those things. They learn that. They learn those things. So what I was trying to do is help them to unlearn those things while they were in the schools. I was telling them, I know how it is to be in the hood. I'm from the hood. I'm in the hood now. That's me. But I'm not going to do some of the things, the negative things that the hood will do. Now, you may be my boy, my friend, and we cool and everything, but you gonna go that way, I'm going this way because I got to be accountable for myself. So that's what I was doing. Not only having these things, I was having conflict resolutions. You know, I was having, when they when they got wrote up by a teacher, the teacher would refer them to me. And then we would work on diversion. Okay. My main goal was to keep them in school, Mr. Brown. Yes. Keep them there. If I had to put them in ISS, detention, clean up, whatever, keep them in school. And that's how we started changing things. And like you said, the kids now who are grown, they come back. When I got sworn in, they were there. All during the week, they come in. They send me cards. I saw one yesterday in Walmart telling me about, hey, Burgess, remember that time? And I was like, boy, don't remind me of them days. You know, but the thing about it is they saw me that way in 94, and they see me the same way right now. They walk up to me in front of anybody and show me love, and I do the same with them because it's all about love. Yes, sir. So yeah, that was the #1 job that I knew that I made a difference in as a school resource officer. Of all the jobs I did in that police department, I knew I made a difference there because you can see it when the people come back to you. You can see it.
What do you tell our youth when they have problems getting a job because of prior records and they feel like the only thing that they can do is do something illegal instead of seeking options because there are always options out there that they can do?
Yes. Well, my father, like I say, was born in the 40s. He worked at the paper mill for 28 years. He told me, listen, before you go out here and do anything negative, I didn't raise you that way. I want you, if you have to dig a ditch and get a piece of paper with your name on it, you do the right thing at all times when it comes to yourself because you can live with that. So I tell the young kids, I know it's rough, I know it's hard, you have a record, but it's not over. All you have to do is keep grinding hard, be positive, and go seek the people who you know can help you.
Yes, sir.
That's what you do. Seek advice. Get the understanding. When you get with those folks, they'll help you. They'll work with you. You may not get that great job, but you'll get something and you can help start building yourself. But don't give up. don't give up, because I didn't, you did. And we come from the same areas.
Yes,
we just
sir.
didn't give up. We kept going.
Yes, sir. Now we got another video of you in the community, and
You guys have an award-winning team and an award-winning chief here at the North Charleston Police Department, and I want to present to you today Real Men Wear Pink official trophy from the American Cancer Society for all the wonderful work you all did last October. And we're just thrilled to have your partnership in this fight, because these cancer patients simply could not get the support and the research advances that they need without community partners like each one of you. And Chief Burgess, we can't say thank you enough for your leadership with this, and we're so excited to have y'all back again. And thank you. From the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all these cancer patients, thank you.
Thank you.